Hi, everybody. Welcome for another dramatic reading by TV Bond. Yay. Today, we're going to read One Little Lie by EJ Towler. Ooh. Now, I'm going to tell you about this. This is a murder mystery. It's a murder mystery, romantic suspense. It is spicy. So I may need to do a little bit of editing. Spicy. The first chapter got me. I was like, ooh, okay, girl. All right. So I just wanted to let you know that sometimes in dramatic readings, I may have to do that so I won't be demonetized. But I will try my best to grab things that are PG-13 just to start off with so we won't have that problem. So, as always, please go read these books for yourself so you can enjoy it. I'm going to read it as a Brit. I'm not going to abridge anything. I'm going to read it as is. But yes, this is a little the spiciness is there, and you can tell that it is there. This chapter, for the most part, is pretty clean in language, so good there. But you can tell that this is going to get spicy. So here is the blurb. What if you discovered the man you trusted above all others has a secret life? Attorney JD Ellis's world begins an inward spiral when her fiance Derrick is arrested for murder and his secret life as a BDSM master is revealed. Building his defense seems insurmountable with every lie and secret she uncovers. When offered an invitation to the annual BDSM Masquerade Gala, JD's curiosity gets the better of her. The encounter leaves her with an unforgettable night, a sore backside, and a business card with an email address, and more confusion. With Derrick's life exposed and hers in shambles, can she stay the course to see justice is done? One Little Lie, Chapter 1. February 2000. JD woke before the blare of the alarm, snuggled beneath the covers, stretching like a lazy cat. The warmth of the electric blanket against her nude body was heavenly. Well, she was naked except for the wool Dotson printed socks and engagement ring. Nestling in the lavish platform king-size bed, she held up her hand and moved it from side to side. The flames from the stone fireplace danced through the 3-carat emerald cut diamond. The aroma of brewing coffee beckoned from the kitchen, but she decided to be lazy and stay put until Derrick's morning call. The erotic beginning of their day would be sensual banter ending in phone sex, in which JD would be a willing participant. It was their guilty pleasure when he traveled, which had been a great deal lately. It's part of our strategic life plan, she heard Derrick's voice remind her. She tickled the snout of the stuffed dog on her nightstand. One day, she'd have a Dotson who would be her constant companion. She wanted a wiener dog for as long as she could remember. Being all but homeless much of her childhood, finding food and staying safe had been her primary focus. The streets were no place for a pet, and now she was consumed with the setting up her law firm. Derrick was right. As usual, their lives were too hectic for a puppy. Another topic on the long list of controversial subjects he reluctantly agreed to revisit in a few years. JD mentally scolded herself again. Don't dwell on the past or things you can't have. Nothing positive comes from reliving the past. Besides, the only homeless shelter she'd entered in years had been to volunteer. Since she met Derrick, her life was nothing short of a fairy tale. Overnight, she'd gone from living paycheck to private jets and limos. Now, her dream wedding was in the works. The coordinator had mailed the save the date cards months ago. The invitations would go out in a few days, exactly 8 weeks before the celebration. Their union would be the social event of the season. JD rested against the pile of pillows and stared at her ring. She shook her head, recalling how they had flown to New York City, met with a designer, and spent $35,000 on dresses. She tried on several styles until he decided the fit and flair that was sexy and tasteful. He left JD in the hands of an artist. The final drawing detailed the white illusion bodice and fingertip sleeves, plunging V-neck, and long double lace train. With the floating lace motifs, decadent overlays, shimmering lace, and embellishments, the dress would be unforgettable. In stark contrast, Derrick selected a red reception gown for her. To go with each, hidden away in her closet were two lace-up corsets, one white and the other red, with hoses and heels. What had she been thinking? Well, she knew all too well. Over the last several years, she'd become way too comfortable in Derrick's world. Hadn't she spent $900 on a pair of heels last week without a second thought? Her closet was filled with everything an up-and-coming professional required. JD owed Derrick everything. He believed in her when no one else would. She had been struggling college student in a video store when they met. He'd come looking for a copy of Casablanca and had taken her breath away. Chills danced down her spine as she recalled the encounter. The classic wool suit fit perfectly to his tall, muscular frame, yet he reminded her of a teddy bear. The blue shirt set off the crystal color of his eyes, and the glint of the gold sparkled from his cufflinks. He'd unbuttoned his jacket and revealed button suspenders that matched the manatee and coral tie. Her life had changed forever that day. Within weeks, at Derrick's insistence, she quit her job and moved into his house on Lake Ella. She was his princess, free to concentrate on her education. With his direction, they put together an amazing wardrobe. She had known there were so many designers of women's clothing. One must wear designer suits, good fabric, and good cuts. JD could hear Derrick's voice as if he were standing right in front of her. Derrick taught her to work a room and host the perfect party, introduced her to a world she never dreamed existed, and challenged her to apply for a law school while finishing her bachelor's degree, all while his money and connections paved the way for her new life. When she graduated from law school, he threw in a huge party and bragged to anyone who would listen how she finished first in her class. JD was sure that Derrick was the driving force in landing a summer internship at Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe Esquires. It had been her strong work ethic and judicial success that had her career on the fast track towards partner. But still, if not for Derrick, where would she be? His circle of friends had welcomed her with open arms. The four worlds so alike, yet vastly different. JD recalled series of pictures on the piano downstairs documenting Derrick, Jonathan, Benjamin, and Mitch's relationship over the years. They were closer than any family by blood. Jonathan and Benjamin were her bosses. JD counted Mitch, restaurateur and entrepreneur, as best friend. Over the years, each had contributed to her personal and professional growth and held a special place in her heart. The ring on her phone sent tingles of anticipation through JD's body, and a smile spread across her face. So now the fun begins. JD hit the speaker button. "Good morning, my love." She let the words roll out in the sweet southern drawl her fiance loved, and she only used for him. "Sweetheart, I think I've been arrested." Derrick's voice boomed in her ears. The tremble in his voice told her this was not one of his infamous practical jokes. She shot up and swung her feet over the side of the bed. The dump of adrenaline set her heart pounding. She fought to control her breathing and finally found her voice. "Arrested? Arrested for what?" "Murder." "Murder? Who the hell did you allegedly murder?" Terror began to take hold and she consciously shifted from fiance to attorney. She cloaked herself in cold legal persona she mastered. JD threw the phone on the bed and slipped on her t-shirt over her head. "Never mind. Where are you?" she asked and pulled on sweatpants. There was a pause and a deep breath before Derrick answered. "At the cottage." JD retrieved her cell and began to pace. Her sock-covered feet moved smoothly across the high-polished bocate wood floors. "Our cabin? I thought you were in Tampa." There was a change of plans. She heard the defeat in his voice as she ran her fingers through her hair. All right, we'll talk about it later. Have you been read your rights? No. The detective told me to sit and wait. What do I do? Make one statement. You want your attorney. Don't say another word, not one. Understand? She said, forcing calm into her voice. Okay, who's the detective in charge? She asked. McWilliams, I think. Wait, he's heading this way. JD took her first deep breath since the call began. Inform him you are speaking with your attorney, and I'd like to speak with him. Oh, yeah, she'd like to talk to him. She'd worked with Mac before. Well, more like against him. On numerous occasions, she ripped his evidence to shreds, defending her client, but in most cases, Mac was right. She listened to the muffled sounds until a familiar male voice echoed through the phone. This is Detective McWilliams. I don't really have time to talk, especially to an attorney. Mac, it's JD. Wow, I'm impressed. This guy must have you on speed dial to reach you at this hour. I figured it wasn't his first rodeo. I understand you're busy. I have 2 questions, JD said, mentally shutting down the alarm bells clanging in her head. In some cases, Mac was an excellent detective. Only 2 questions? Must mean there's a follow-ups? Must mean there'll be follow-ups? Sarcasm dripped from each word. She could visualize the smirk on the detective's face as she asked, Is Mr. August being taken into custody? His response was quick and direct. Yes. Is he being transported to Tallahassee Police Headquarters? Correct again, counselor. You are 2 for 2. Want to try it for a hat trick? He asked. I'll meet you at the station. Consider this notification. Mr. August has evoked his right to counsel. He'll make no statements. What is it, JD? You don't trust me? The mockery ran clear and loud and clear in his voice. JD paused for a split second, then responded in kind. I've beaten you before, haven't I? Remember, this isn't our first dance, Mac. This one's not like the others, he replied flatly. JD. It was Derrick now. Derrick, shut up. Panic was breaking through her mental castle walls. Not a word. Do you hear me? Say nothing. Do nothing. She didn't wait for his response, just disconnected the call. It could all be explained. It had to be. But in the back of her mind, an old familiar voice whispered, You knew things were too good to be true. JD's stomach churned, and the room began to spin. She sat on the bed, put her head between her knees, and fought to breathe. She had to find her inner calm. Panic would solve nothing. She raised her head and tried to dismiss the dread invading her mind, body, and heart. What the hell was going on? Why hadn't Derrick gone to Tampa like he said? Did Max suspect Derrick had murdered someone, or that the intruder had broken into the cabin? She shut down thoughts swirling in her mind, stripped, and stepped into the shower. And that is chapter 1 of One Little Lie by EJ Towler. Definitely picking up fast, so check it out. And thanks for staying.